when you're in your new scene, how you want to load a character. The way you load your character back in is by going to ARTv2 and then add rig for animation. Go to your project name is sample. You could change this to whatever you wanted back then, but go to female, go to base female mesh, add selected. All right. And now what we want to do is there's our character. Everything looks like it works. There's all our controllers for the face that we didn't rig yet, but they are there. Let's look and see if these are working. Yep. Oh man, so we got to go back and rig the face. We'll do that. We'll do that in another video. We should be able to move our character around. All right, everything's looking good. The next thing you want to do is have a picker. You can use the base picker. So if you click here, it'll ask you for a basic picker. Right now, we will want to build our picker because we're going to have the face. And by default, the basic biped that they give you with this software does not have all that integrated. So we'll have to build one. So we'll build one after we do the face. But for right now, since we don't really have the face integrated to be skinned to anything, let's just pick basic biped picker. And here we go. And so as you can see, it picks the hands and everything. So to look at this, all these green boxes lets you do selection sets. So you can do full finger selection sets this way. These are your metacarpals and these are your fingers. Or you can do full selection sets this way where it selects them segment by segment. Like, oops, it selects it based off of like here. What am I looking at? Here, and then this row, and then this row. Or you can do it where it's like all of this, and then all of this, and then all of that. So that's what these boxes right here are. This obviously is like your head, your neck. These are your spines and everything like that. By default, it gives you IK spine, IK hands. I like selecting S and then turning this to 0. That gives you full FK spine. And I do the same thing for the hands. So I can work in FK hands. Only use IK hands when you need to like rest your hands on things, pick up things. You want to keep things in the same place when your character is moving like this and you want the arms to move as opposed to the arms moving with you. So use IK appropriately. It'll help you get stronger knowing how to switch in between IK and FK. I noticed that a lot of people still don't know how to switch well. I'll be showing you guys how to do that in a video as well. A lot of people just animate with IK hands still because they don't want to deal with switching the hands. But what you get with that is a lot of floatiness that doesn't match the body motion. So you want to stay away from doing things like that and just learn how to switch it appropriately, and it'll make everything so much easier for you. So we switched these hands over, and so that worked. To go over some of these buttons on the side, since this is a new screen for our animation tools, you have your image up here. I already told you what the green boxes do. These select the actual joints. So this will be your picker to select what you need to rotate and what you want to do. All right. So that's what these do. This works really well for what it is. You go here, this will bring up another box where you can select everything. You select all your controllers, right? Selecting all your controllers allows you to do certain things with it. This is helpful when we're working with Studio Library and we want to select certain groups of the body and then save out certain poses or save out animations. The next button on here is your import button or your export button. The way you want to export is you want to click add sequence. Right now it takes your current frame range from start to finish, start to end frame. You want to go to your export settings and turn off export meshes and turn off export custom attribute curves. You don't need those exported. I'll show you how we get our export for our mesh that we're going to use when we go into Unreal. What you want to do next is you want to set an output path. So normally what I'll do is I'll come here and I'll have an export folder to make sure it's always at the top. Export folder, and then you just type in whatever name you want and click export, and it'll export out the animation for you. You can change your you only want to frame 50. Just change it there before you do it. Good to go. And then it'll just export frame 1 to 50 with the name you want, and there's your animation. The name for the animation will show up here once you type it in when you save it or when you want to save it. This right here is good for if you made a weird pose and you're like, oh man, I can't get back to zeroing out, it's not working for some reason. Or you just want to go back and while you're making your poses, you want to start with your T-pose each time. If you're doing like a straight ahead animation and you're like, oh, I want to start back to getting here, so then it'll be easier to like go into my next pose, so I don't have to worry about trying to go from this weird pose back into this pose. If you just want to go back to your T-pose and go back, you can do that as well. This again lets you select all, and then in selecting all, it'll let you reset your transforms. I don't use these too much. The way I get mocap on is different than how I've seen people do mocap. They use Motion Builder, so they use a third-party program. I don't use a third-party program. I can show you how to set up everything with constraints, and this is a good way to get motion capture data onto any rig, essentially, and then bake it down, and then delete that control rig for the mocap, and you're good to go. It doesn't even matter what size it is. If you're trying to get the mocap on, the way we're going to use constraints, it'll just work. So this ends this video on getting everything skinned for our character, and we went ahead and built the rig as well. So because we went through this phase and we know that it works, what I will be likely doing is going back to my version 16 when I was still waiting and skinning everything, and I will skin from that as opposed to going back in this. So I'm glad you saved an iteration so you can do the same thing. You can also go back and skin through here, but because we haven't animated anything yet, there's no real purpose for you to do that. If anything happens where we're like, oh, we need to go back and skin this to it, then we will. But for now, you go back to your iteration of your file and update your skinning. So yeah, that ends this video. I hope you learned something new. This was fun. This was a little exciting. It's a little nerve-wracking getting into issues live like this. But that's where problem solving comes in, and that's where being patient and looking at what the real issue could be, and then taking chances. Like, if I was like unseasoned, I would have never deleted that stuff, and I would have just been stuck. I would have to ask someone, because I would have thought deleting it would have broke something. But sometimes you got to break things. You have a save file that you can go back to, so it's not a problem. And then you just got to take chances, and then you'll figure things out like that. So. But when we go back for the face for that video, we are going to go back to our version 16. So don't delete any of your files. Make sure that everything is named appropriately. And we're going to start from there. And then from there, we'll go and delete our locators and then go through this phase all over again. And then from there, we're going to build out our very own custom picker file. And then we'll save that so we have it. So when we always open it, we'll be good to go. From there, that's when the fun's going to start. We're going to start animating stuff. We're going to start exporting and getting things into Unreal. and then we'll be good to go. All right. Thanks. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something new. Please stay tuned for more things to come. Thanks. Bye.